got a bench to test? Well, let me direct you to one of the best in the business. Critics laughed when asked if he'd actually play some football. It's Kobbie Mainoo. Fucking hell, I don't want to do this to man, because he actually should just be playing. Kobbie Mainoo's come up at Manchester United was special. Placed into an injury-ridden Red Devils side in the centre of a midfield, a calm and composed figure well beyond his years immediately impressed. And at a football club known for its youth development like Manchester United, it seemed like he was a star of the future. Incredible goals against the likes of Wolves and Liverpool, even saw him start the final of Euro 2024. But 18 months later, and his minutes this season would barely get him a letterboxd review. So what exactly is going on with Kobbie Mainoo and Manchester United? Ruben Amorim has got blood on his hands and gel in his hair, and that is a man that cannot be trusted. 6,000 likes and will officially start the Free Cobb campaign. That actually sounds too similar to what would be in a Diddy documentary, actually, to be honest with you. He's a United player, fam. I don't even obviously like United, yeah, but I actually just feel bad for him at this stage. And I think it's really highlighted by stuff that's gone on this week with Kobbie Mainoo, Ruben Amorim, and Manchester United. Now, the context here is, well, pretty obvious. Kobbie has got barely any game time this season, and to a larger degree, certainly a decrease in game time under Ruben Amorim after his come up under Erik Ten Hag. Now, going into this week, right, he'd played about 150 minutes of Premier League football. It is game week 15. That is an average of 10 minutes per game week. This man deserves significantly more than that. He hasn't registered a single Premier League start. The only start that he's had was against Grimsby in the Cup. Okay, maybe actually thinking about it, they're right. No, but genuinely, okay, in an interview, in a press conference, Ruben Amorim is asked about whether Kobbie Mainoo's going to get some game time. After fan pressure, United fans understandably love one of their own. They're about to play bottom of the league and winless Wolves. These lot have got less points than an isosceles triangle. A side that ironically Kobbie burst onto the scene against by scoring a wonderful 97th mad ting, sad ting, dribbling past players, curling one into the back of the net winner. And Ruben Amorim's response? He just started bussing up.
I understand you've not got a lot of options. Kobbie Mainoo.
He thought this was a humorous event, a comedic sketch. That is disrespectful. If I'm Kobbie Mainoo sat on the bench, I'm getting animated as soon as Wolves go forward on a counter-attack, hoping that they score a goal.
Lick him up, lick him up.
The amount of minutes that he's played this season is absolutely ridiculous for a player of his standard and his quality. Now, we can never know what's going on behind the scenes. We can know the tactical preferences of the manager, but 150 minutes for a player of his standard and his age as well, like, just get him experience and he'll turn into a sensational central midfielder with the actual intelligence for football that he already has. He played 1 minute of the Europa League final. And now there's no prizes for guessing which minute it was. He might as well have just not even put his shin pads on me. They turned down his request for him to go out on loan at the start of the season. That's a more than acceptable request. He's not getting any game time. He's not asking to leave permanently. And if he wasn't an academy graduate, he probably would have done. And they turned that down to make him a pedestrian. This man is a civilian. At the end credits of Manchester United's season, it's gonna say NPC next to his name. This man would have more to do if he was in a nudist's wardrobe, fam. It's absolutely insane. There's more chance of Angry Ginge starting in United's midfield right now. Look, it's 25-26 segment on Wikipedia. There's no segment. There is no segment for this season because he hasn't been involved. It's absolutely crazy. If I'm seeing a starting 11 for Manchester United, yeah, as a United player, right, I'm seeing the team sheet come through and Diogo Dalot's on it, fam, I'd stop reading the rest. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if he's got a couple goal contributions recently. That man's stealing a living. Kobbie Mainoo must be devastated watching Manuel Ugarte get game time over him despite consistently dropping 3.7 ratings on SofaScore. In fact, starting Ugarte-terrorist over Kobbie Mainoo as even any level of preference whatsoever is a sackable offence for the manager. And it was going on for a lot of last season. It's starting to feel like Ruben Amorim's got some level of agenda against him. That's the reason why he won't put him in the starting 11. Kobbie, he's gonna be a little bit bamboozled when Ruben asks him to drop and give him 50 for Manchester United's performances, even though he's not playing. Ruben's probably celebrating when this geezer misplaces a 57-yard crossfield pass during a rondo in training, just because then he's got an excuse not to play him on the weekend. And this is one of the major gripes that I see Manchester United fans having with Ruben Amorim generally, okay? He's obviously got his favourites. He's very stubborn, generally speaking. We saw that at the start when he wasn't willing to waver away from his original tactic, and a tactic that was working horrendously. They finished 15th in the league and he wasn't willing to change. He wasn't willing to switch up his lineup or switch up the formation or anything like that to try and get the best out of players like Kobbie Mainoo, like Casemiro in the center of the park, or of course like Bruno Fernandes. I don't really feel like any of their midfielders particularly play in a role that actually works for them. But on top of that, he doesn't seem to fit the ethic of actually wanting to play Manchester United youngsters. He's already got his answer sorted when you ask him whether he wants to play an 18-year-old from the academy in the League Cup second round against 21st in League One. Bitch, I'd rather die! If a 16-year-old comes to ask him for a little bit of training with the senior team and goes to his office, he's yamming them straight out of there. 37-yard volley straight back into the youth team. This man's too busy playing Monopoly down on the touchline to actually pay attention to any of Manchester United's youth players. You know, on FIFA career mode back in the day, right? You've got a big game coming up. You've got a Champions League final coming up. Your 57 rated 16-year-old youth academy graduate who's got about 68 potential maximum comes to your office and says, "Gaffer, not gonna lie, mate, I need some more game time. I want to start the next fixture." You look around, you laugh, you don't play him. If that happened in real life, Ruben Amorim's getting them deported, fam. But you know, the absolutely crazy thing here is that if Kobbie Mainoo was playing for Brighton, Manchester United would be trying to sign him for like 70 million quid, let's be 100% honest. Now, Kobbie's getting linked with moves away already. I saw a link today about maybe going to Bayern Munich, linking up with Harry Kane, and Eric Dyer doesn't play there anymore, but linking up with Harry Kane as Englishman taken over at Bayern. He was obviously linked with other, like, you know, Premier League teams. I think Spurs would potentially be interested in him. There was also a link to Napoli and Antonio Conte. If I'm Kobbie, I'm already booting up Duolingo. Though at such a young age and having not played abroad too often, he's going to be struggling to wrap his head round a new language when he arrives in Serie A.
Buenos noches, días. 7, 8.
Yeah, that's Spanish, broski. Don't worry about it. And so instead, here is Kobbie Mainoo on the bench every week for Manchester United. At best, getting barely any game time. I was actually wrong about the minutes. We're now at a staggering 190 for the season, which is still about an average of 12 per game week. Now, what exactly is going on? Why exactly is he not getting into the team? Now, I think there's a couple of main, like, actual key issues here. Main reasons, and realistically, they all come, well, both, I guess, come down to the manager. Kobbie Mainoo, as I said, he kind of burst onto the scene really with goals against the likes of Wolves and against Liverpool. He made his debut against Everton when I think he was still 18. Manchester United was struggling with injuries from what I can remember, and he started a game against Everton who just got a points deduction. It was that season, and he looked really impressive. He was very calm, very composed, and I think that's what impressed a lot of people. Obviously, technically, he can always get a little bit better. He had, you know, more than enough of that, obviously, to start for Manchester United, but in a central midfield as well. He was calm at just popping little passes off and being composed, making sure the game ticks over at the speed that he wanted to. It was intelligence like way beyond his years. It sounds like I'm glazing him, but it was genuinely impressive for an 18-year-old. Then he shows off some technical ability, some dribbling and some good finishing with the goal against Wolves. Absolutely beautiful. Scores a great goal against Liverpool, shambolically and painfully for me. He then becomes more and more important under Erik Ten Hag, and the crescendo of that, I guess, is then scoring in the FA Cup final against Manchester City and helping Manchester United win some silverware despite Erik Ten Hag's shortcomings. And for all of Erik Ten Hag's shortcomings, in fairness, he was very happy to give the youth of Manchester United a chance. So like Arsenal, Manchester United realistically are the pinnacle of their youth getting a chance to succeed. Right, yeah, the class of 92, David Beckham, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, yeah, all coming up at the same time and providing for Manchester United for like a decade afterwards, okay? All coming through in the same team, basically. This is what Manchester United's ethos is all about. And I think Erik Ten Hag kind of understood it a little bit when it came to youth players and youngsters like Alejandro Garnacho getting his chance, Kobbie Mainoo. But it doesn't seem like it's something that Ruben Amorim's ever really been able to grasp. I mean, you look at the bench and there's basically like one or two young players there, or, you know, Manchester United graduates, youth academy graduates there. And a lot of the time, they're just there to make up the numbers. They don't actually make any sort of impact. They don't come off the bench really at any point. So I think that's the first thing. I think he just doesn't, I don't think he can comprehend or understand truly the ethos of Manchester United. And then his reaction in a press conference like that, just laughing at a journalist asking whether he's going to give Kobbie Mainoo some game time against bottom of the league. If you're going to do it at any point and rotate the team a little bit, you're going to do it then. To do that, man, you've just got a tub of gasoline, fam. You just volleyed it onto the flames for no reason. Post-edit here and here, by the way. Something else has happened literally today from Ruben Amorim in a press conference again, where he was asked about Kobbie Mainoo once more and basically used it as a chance to throw like 3 United youngsters under the bus. Chido Obi basically saying that he doesn't play very often for the under-21, so why would he start him? Harry Amas, he said, was struggling at Sheffield Wednesday, even though he just won their Player of the Month, which is bizarre. And then obviously Kobbie Mainoo again. It shows A, that he's out of touch with the youngsters that are at the club, because one of them he's literally just lied about. And also, again, it's tone deaf. United fans love United Academy graduates. Not only are you not playing them, but you're throwing youngsters, 19-year-olds, teenagers under the bus in some instances, in a press conference for no reason, under no pressure. Nobody even asked you about them. It's very strange, and I understand why United fans don't rate him. And then the secondary thing really comes down to tactics. And with Ruben Amorim wanting to insist on playing this double pivot almost, with obviously 5 at the back, wing backs, and then a more attacking, slightly narrower 2 in front of them, and then a striker up at the top, there isn't really room for Kobbie Mainoo in what he wants. He's openly said that he thinks Kobbie's a great box-to-box midfielder, and I would agree. I think he is good at that. He's very intelligent. Like I said, he can dictate the tempo to an extent of a game. He's pretty intelligent, but like he maybe lacks that element of it, so he probably wouldn't want to play him in the 8 role in that system, and then I don't know if necessarily defensively he's good enough to be the 6, or he's not better than Casemiro specifically at that job, which means that he doesn't really fit in at all in that pivot. But I think if you wanted to, and you wanted to sacrifice just a tiny bit of the ideal scenario, you could play him. Like, he should be playing more than he is. Like, to say Manuel Ugarte was getting so much game time for Manchester United, especially last season, given performances, and even into this season as well. I know he had a big price tag, but he's been shit the entire time. Kobbie Mainoo not getting any is absolutely crazy. And I've never really understood Ruben Amorim's desire to want to play Bruno Fernandes in that role, where I know you need someone to progress the ball forward, and I guess Bruno Fernandes is good at that, like dropping deep and whatever, but he doesn't do the defensive side of the game. And United concede so many goals from him not tracking his man. So many's maybe harsh, but they would concede less if they had someone a bit more defensively minded, like a Kobbie Mainoo, who could actually sit in that role. I think he'd be pretty good at it. Like I said, he can dictate the tempo of a game. He's got good enough passing range. He doesn't need to be spraying balls all over the place from deep. If you had Bruno Fernandes a little bit further forward, that could still work. Either way, he's unwilling to try it or experiment that. He's unwilling to change his squad. And when asked about it, basically he just said that he wanted the strongest team to win games. Now, I get it. He's under pressure. Manchester United, whilst better this season, are still prone to conceding stupid goals and losing and dropping stupid points. But Kobbie Mainoo is a footballer for the future. Sometimes you have to sacrifice maybe the absolute pinnacle of your team's performance right now in the acknowledgement that you've got a golden generation player who could be very, very good in the future. You don't have to play him every single game, but just like play him 1 in 3 or something. Start him 1 in 3. He'd at least be a little bit happier than how he is right now. 190 minutes, like I said, for a player of his quality is absolute. It's just so fucking crazy. Like, come on, man. You got to think about the future of the team here a little bit. You got Casemiro. He's 57, fam. You've got Bruno Fernandes in there as well, but you're telling me you can't rotate him in. Even just cameo appearances that are a little bit longer than 1 minute at the end of a Europa League final. The long and short of it is it's absolutely bonkers to me, and I don't fully understand Ruben Amorim's thinking. Unless there's something going on deeper, like he's not performing well in training, he's not showing the characteristics that he needs to be to fight for his place in the squad. But based on his lack of speaking out, really, on the topic, he's not expressed disappointment. He's just said he wants to go out on loan to get better technically. I don't really see how that could be an issue necessarily either. He seems like he's been acting professional up to this point. So for the greater good of his career, he needs to go out on loan for sure, and I don't understand why that was denied to him at the start of the season, given he's then not had any game time since. For the greater good of England, I honestly think Kobbie Mainoo could be an amazing midfielder for England. He proved that he was a quality midfielder for England. We've got some great options that are young players that are only going to get better. The likes of Kobbie Mainoo, the likes of Adam Wharton, the likes of Elliot Anderson, all of which are, what, 23? I don't know, I can't remember how old Elliot Anderson is. I think they're 23 max. In the case of Kobbie Mainoo, even younger, but he's got to get some actual game time to improve on the technical side of his game. He needs experience. He's got to, if he's going to actually blossom into a good footballer and a footballer that Manchester United can use, he's got to actually get some game time. And I think even more crucially than that to Manchester United fans, I assume, to keep the ethos of the club alive. There's not much about Manchester United right now that I think their fans could probably recognise. They don't fucking win games, for a start. They're shit. I know they're above us in the league. Fucking hell. You know what I'm saying? You know, Manchester United aren't a very successful football club at the moment. They don't play very good football either. They play fucking fucking depressing football a lot of the time under Ruben Amorim. So at the very least, they can just play some of their youth players. And they're not even really doing that. God, I'm sticking up for United fans. Fucking hell, I've actually feel viscerally ill. But what do you make of it, United fans? But what do you think, Manchester United fans? But what do you make of this Manchester United? Oh my God. Well, you know when you get a phrase wrong like twice, you just fall apart, bro. But what do you make of this one, Manchester United fans? What do you think of Kobbie Mainoo's treatment under Ruben Amorim? What do you think about Ruben Amorim's management at the moment this season? Because United have improved. They're doing well-ish in comparison to last season. And where do we think Kobbie Mainoo should go if he is going to leave in January? As I mentioned though, let's try and get this video to 6,000 likes, as I said at the start of the video. And if you are new, please make sure to subscribe. Really does help me out. Is, you know, heavily important to make sure you guys still see the videos if you do enjoy them. And you can also follow me on social media. It is @theofficialfng on Twitter, Insta, and on TikTok as well. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.